Still morning. Good morning, Buckshot. I'm just sitting here waiting for President Trump to come out and make some statements. I'm watching the Dow futures and see what's going on. True News went bananas last night because a Democrat who is a career lifer in the Taylor is a Democrat who began his government service in the Energy Department before serving on the staff of then Senator Bill Bradley, Democrat, New Jersey. During the Bill Clinton administration, he served on the staff as the U.S. U.S. Embassy to NATO, coordinating aid to Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. Well, True News absolutely lost it. They think that this guy is somehow damning Trump, and I just view him as another guy who's going in and lying, because it's just not his nature. I haven't seen that behavior that they're accusing Donald Trump of. I haven't seen it. Now, kind of like for him to strong arm these son of a bitches who are strong arming the rest of us, but it's not his nature. So I'm sitting here in my back studio, trying to organize it with Restream it. Pain in the ass. Trying to make things work. Go. Yep. That's right, man. It's clown world. But I'm very happy that the markets aren't freaking out. That tells me that what the Democrats is doing is ineffectual. Because if it was a situation where they were really taking down the president, the markets would be tanking. There would be a major loss in confidence, I think. And I'm looking here at the volume, and it's very low on the futures. So it's not volatile right now. That's good. Everything else seems to be fine. I'm looking over here at the crude oil. It's right there in its channel. GE it's still pushing up against resistance, but 666 was its low. I know you can't see it, so let me pop it up. So this year's low for 666 GE. It's an accumulation. I'm not going to accumulate at 9, but when it breaks down again below 775, we'll accumulate. So I'm watching that. Then of course, you got to watch Genie Oil, because Genie Oil here has Romney in it, Cheney, Clinton's. Everybody who was in on the deal of trying to put a pipeline from the Golan Heights to Turkey, through Syria to Turkey into Europe, this is them right there, Genie Oil. They have the contract on drilling and pulling the oil out of the Golan Heights. So that's just for your information. If you want to see who's who and trying to take Trump down, and what Trump has done has caused them a lot of problems. And what bothers me about this whole thing is that there's been this idea that it's okay for them to use government money for their investment. What sort of what is that called? It's teapot dome type thing. Charity, welfare, It's just wrong. Now Donald's saying that he's going to grab the Syrian oil. I don't agree with that. I don't. That doesn't do good for the karma, in my opinion. It was funny when Junior went into Iraq. Everybody was going, "Oh, we're going to get the oil. We're going to get the oil." We haven't seen a drop. It was London. It was the British that took the oil because it's their territory still. They're running the show there. So, I don't know why they're not talking. I thought Donald Trump would be talking by now. Son of a bitch. It's live. It's George Washington. Mm-mm-mm. 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 True news. This was a good interview. E. Michael Jones was interviewed by Red Ice. And they were talking about the sickness that asshats were going through. Greta Thunberg. Turns out that she was way messed up. And her parents part of the problem along with the school, according to the interview. I half-heartedly listened. I did not really care. I don't really care about her, but they're destroying their people. And then Donald, ooh, right here, man. Where's the whistleblower? He has every right to know. Yeah, he probably knows, right? Wouldn't you assume that he knows the whistleblower? He knows. He knows who the whistleblower is. He has to. How can the whistleblower be known to the Democrats but not known to the administration? You know, he's protected from repercussions supposedly, but why is he protected? Why is he anonymous? Especially when it just seems to be leaks, not, you know, it's not actual crimes that they were uncovering. Because if it was a crime, Biden would be in jail for what he did. The son of a bitch admitted to it. You know, I'm convinced Hillary Clinton can get on national television, tell you about a murder she commits, and then give you the exact location of the body. Go there, dig it up, and America is just going to shrug its shoulders. Oh, that's okay. She's too big to jail. I just don't get it. So I tried to rename my stream through OBS and restream it, and it didn't update my stream names. So that feature doesn't work. It didn't do it. So I have to get in and rename them myself. I'm gonna fix my DLive. Liberty Talk. What? That's not me. What the hell? How did I introducing lemon, lime? What? I'm gone. My channel? I'm offline. What happened? Everything has gone crazy. They've taken me offline. Why? DLive Mad World is offline. Okay, log out. Log in. Successful. Oh. Log out. Oh, I created a different. think I'd be able to change it, man. Hey, thanks for the other lemons, man. All right, I'm back in. No, you're up. Oh, thanks. I am not getting. I have to redo my login. From this studio, it's all kittywampus. I was doing this satirical show for my enjoyment called Charles Bear, and I haven't put the OBS back together for Mad World. Urgh. Donald, why aren't you talking? I don't have much time left. I got shit to do. It started streaming 50 minutes ago, but nothing's going on. Now, he's supposed to be doing remarks on Syria. You gotta get that shit together. And I got. Just picked up a new Sony Bluetooth monitor. Well, I'm calling it a monitor, but it's a Bluetooth box. And it turned off on its own with nothing coming through it. Or I might have accidentally pushed it when I reached over to try to do the volume. Don't know. So I'm gonna get right to it. I need to go to the subscriptions. Donald Trump is disappointing me. Trump supporters are exposed. Oh yeah. I don't know, Buckshot. Pure. Romney is I believe a board member of Genie Oil also. So Pierre Delecco, all the people who are screaming at the top of their lungs about Syria and not liking it, i.e. Cheney's daughter, they're all invested in Genie Oil. And of course, you know, when they first started it, Genie Oil did real well. You know, when they first started the hoopla. Let's see, that's the monthly chart. La 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 la. Let's see, right there. Projecting. Well, he's projecting. He's mad because he's got a huge investment in Genie Oil. Look, Genie Oil pays dividends. It's losing money and it still pays. It's paying their investors. There's a lot of money in Genie Oil, and Genie Energy Ltd. They're pissed. It's a cabal of pissed off people. Projecting. Yeah, I thought it. Did you see the cartoon put out by Garrison? Of Romney sitting in his basement, drooling, typing away. As you can see here, let's see, Genie Oil way down. And now that Trump is getting us out of Syria, and it's looking like Iran's going to be in there, and it's going to be the Iranian pipeline that's going to go through Syria. Genie Oil is back down. And then if we go further back into 10 years, when this all shit show started, yeah, very optimistic here in 14 that it was going to work out. And yeah, Garrison's funny. And then here in 15 going into 16, everybody was hoping that in Genie Oil that look, they're going to get it done. And then they had a lot of investment, a lot of volatility there. And you see a lot of volatility since the 19. Look at all that volume. This means the more volume, that means the shares are changing hands. Now, if Genie Oil is going to be a going concern for any real length of period or length of time, because it was created back there in 2012, for the express um, purpose of bringing oil out of Golan Heights. And it was a preacher out of West Virginia that was the lead for me on this back in 2012. And so, now we've been in there 7 years, so that's right there, 12. You can see right here's when it was created. They gave a dividend, 7.5. See, they're giving dividends. They're paying, even though they're losing. It looks like 29 cents a share. Big money. You know, that's who's who. So maybe they're pivoting to do something else besides the Golan Heights. Or they're going to go ahead and work the Golan Heights out somehow. There is a nice curve to this chart, though. And I like the curve. If you look at this curve of support through here, so it could pivot and still actually be able to get the oil out of the Golan Heights. Donald Trump did claim or endorse Israel's right to the Golan Heights. So that's something to keep in mind when you're investing. Now, a lot of people are afraid to invest because they think it's all going to crash. Ever since they started Wall Street, it's gonna crash, and it will. Man, as long as there's certain types of people on the planet, they're always gonna have Wall Street. And then, so let's see. There's the natural gas. Natural gas is not doing well enough to no, gold here. Let me take a look at gold. Gold is relatively calm. You can see in here. It's right there at the 50% support for the most recent high lows. And that's how I do it. So it's at a turning point. Everything is basically standing still, watching all the players, waiting for a decisive move. And as far as I'm concerned, the Democrats have not done it. There's no decisive move with them. Checking my speaker to see if it's still on, because in theory, if Donald Trump walks up to the microphone, I should hear him. Damn, dude. I bet he's eating cheeseburgers. I'm hungry. Uh-huh. God damn it, Donald. Get off your ass, Donald. Come in here and say something. Make the markets move. I'm watching you. I'm waiting for you to do something huge. Well, here I'll bring up my penny stocks that I'm watching. Guess I'm not. Oh, there they are. Where's my penny stocks? I don't know. I gotta figure this shit out. Cancel. Cancel. It's right there on the support. See that? Nothing exciting happening in the Dow. The way True News was last night, I thought the world was coming to an end for Trump. I went to bed. I had to turn it off when they turned on Donald, acting like a career Democrat is telling the truth. Yeah, Donald won me. I was told by a secondhand source, I was told by somebody else that Donald wanted to extract promises out of the Ukrainian president. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when they land on this one planet, anytime you had an original thought, something flopped up and hit you in the face. That's what's going on, man. I'm getting smacked in the face constantly by people who acting irrational to things that are irrational. In other words, even True News became unhinged last night, and Rick Wiles, I guess he kind of stays even keeled for the most part. He did say he's going to quit. He's going to quit and just go into saving souls. He's going to save souls. Now, what's on Market Watch? Let's see. Microsoft. What has high volume? The hell is GDS? Let's see. Personal? Oh, there it is. There we go. Anything in high volume? It's not much. Aberaxis Petroleum. $0.34 up 1. That ain't trading much. What's quote trend? Anybody know what quote trend is out there? I don't. I got tools sitting in front of me that I just stare at and have no clue. These are my penny stocks. You guys can't see them because, let me see. Charts. More charts. That's it. I found it. I had to work hard to get to that. Aberax. See, it's still going down here. And they've actually got earnings. 4 cents on earnings. 2 cents, actually. So that's good. So 34-cent stock has got earnings. Yet, there's 50-cent stocks that is a pharmaceutical, and they've got losses. I just don't understand that. Let's see what these cats are doing. They got a loss too. 0. Earnings 0. What the hell does that mean? How can you have 0? It's a mineral company. They're not paying their people. It's just being held at 66 cents. So how can something be so undervalued at 34 cents a share and have actual earnings? I like that. Access. So I like this stock. As you can see, buy on the down and sell into strength. Buy weakness, sell strength. I heard that on TV, so it has to be true. See, look at that. It's so orderly, so thin. So very thin. It's a tough stock to buy. It's still heading on down. Okay, Donald Trump has been. We're waiting on Donald for 65 minutes now. This is just awful. Such a bad guy. I am going. Today is the day where I'm actually contemplating putting a fire out. Today would be my first fire. I'm actually contemplating building a fire. It's 72 degrees in here, but it's got a slight edge of chill to it. So today might be a fire day. What do you think, George? You should have a fire underneath you right there. That'd be nice. Move that podium over here and start a fire. Start a fire. Did you tweet anything else? Where's Donald? He hasn't tweeted in 3 hours, and he's late for his news conference. Uh-oh. You think his cabinets grabbed him? Showed up with guys in white suits and a butterfly net? They're taking Donald to the doctor. Come on, man. I gotta watch my Alex Jones. Damn it. Okay. It doesn't stay on. What a POS. So I gotta keep something running at it. Oh, here you go. Thank you. All right. Hey, let me know if it starts to feed back.
Well, thank you very much. My fellow Americans, I greet you this morning from the White House to announce a major breakthrough toward achieving a better future for Syria and for the Middle East. It's been a long time. Over the last 5 days, you have seen that a ceasefire that we established along Syria's border has held, and it's held very well, beyond most expectations. Early this morning, the government of Turkey informed my administration that they would be stopping combat and their offensive in Syria and making the ceasefire permanent, and it will indeed be permanent. However, you would also define the word permanent in that part of the world as somewhat questionable. We all understand that, but I do believe it will be permanent. I've therefore instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to lift all sanctions imposed on October 14th in response to Turkey's original offensive moves against the Kurds in Syria's northeast border region. So the sanctions will be lifted unless something happens that we're not happy with. This was an outcome created by us, the United States, and nobody else, no other nation. Very simple. And we're willing to take blame, and we're also willing to take credit. This is something they've been trying to do for many, many decades. Since then, others have come out to help, and we welcome them to do so. Other countries have stepped forward. They want to help, and we think that's great. The nations in the region must ultimately take on the responsibility of helping Turkey and Syria police their border. We want other nations to get involved. We've secured the oil, and therefore a small number of U.S. troops will remain in the area where they have the oil. And we're going to be protecting it, and we'll be deciding what we're going to do with it in the future. In any event, by the moves that we've made, we are achieving a much more peaceful and stable area between Turkey and Syria, including a 20-mile wide safe zone. An interesting term, safe zone. That's the term we're using. Hopefully, that zone will become safe. Thousands and thousands of people have been killed in that zone over the years. But it's been sought for many, many decades, and I think we have something that's going to be strong and hold up. Turkey, Syria, and all forms of the Kurds have been fighting for centuries. We have done them a great service, and we've done a great job for all of them. And now we're getting out. Long time. We were supposed to be there for 30 days. That was almost 10 years ago. So we're there for 30 days, and now we're leaving. It's supposed to be a very quick hit, and let's get out. And it was a quick hit, except they stayed for almost 10 years. Let someone else fight over this long, blood-stained sand. I want to thank Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo for leading the American delegation so successfully to Turkey several days ago, along with National Security Advisor O'Brien. I want to thank them very much. The American delegation negotiated the original 5-day ceasefire that ended Kurdish fighters to safely leave. It just got them to a point where, frankly, they were able, it enabled them to get out, to go and move really just a few miles in a slightly different direction. So this enabled them to do so. Countless lives are now being saved as a result of our negotiation with Turkey, an outcome reached without spilling one drop of American blood. No injuries, nobody shot, nobody killed. I have just spoken to General Mazlum, a wonderful man, the commander-in-chief of the SDF Kurds, and he was extremely thankful for what the United States has done. Could not have been more thankful. General Mazlum has assured me that ISIS is under very, very strict lock and key, and the detention facilities are being strongly maintained. There were a few that got out, a small number, relatively speaking, and they've been largely recaptured. I'm also sure that he will be issuing his own statement very shortly. We had a great talk, but we've saved the lives of many, many Kurds. He understands that. The war was going to be vicious and probably not very long. And I'm very happy to have been involved in it, as are our Vice President, our Secretary of State, and all of the other people on our team. By getting that ceasefire to stick, we've done something that's very, very special. But by getting the ceasefire after a tremendous amount of really tough war for a very short period of days, that is something very special. Our troops are safe, and the pain and suffering of the 3-day fight that occurred was directly responsible for our ability to make an agreement with Turkey and the Kurds that could never have been made without this short-term outburst. Should Turkey fail to honor its obligations, including the protection of religious and ethnic minorities, which I truly believe they will do, we reserve the right to reimpose crippling sanctions, including substantially increased tariffs on steel and all other products coming out of Turkey. We are now an economic powerhouse like never before, and very importantly, like no other. Our economic might is stronger than it's ever been, and our competitors are not doing very well. We also expect Turkey to abide by its commitment regarding ISIS as a backup to the Kurds watching over them. Should something happen, Turkey is there to grab them. Further, we implore European countries to come and take those fighters that the U.S. captured and bring them back to their countries for incarceration and for trial. Until just recently, Europe has been very unresponsive in doing what they should have been doing for a long time. Now is their chance to finally act. American forces defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate during the last 2 years. We thank the Syrian Democratic Forces for their sacrifices in this effort. They've been terrific. Now Turkey, Syria, and others in the region must work to ensure that ISIS does not regain any territory. It's their neighborhood. They have to maintain it. They have to take care of it. There were some political pundits who responded to Turkey's offensive in Syria by calling for yet another American military intervention. I don't think so. But halting the incursion by military force would have required deploying tens of thousands of American troops against Turkey, a NATO ally, and a country the United States has developed a very good relationship with, including President Erdogan. The same people that I watched and read giving me and the United States advice were the people that I have been watching and reading for many years. They are the ones that got us into the Middle East mess, but never had the vision or the courage to get us out. They just talk. How many Americans must die in the Middle East in the midst of these ancient sectarian and tribal conflicts? After all of the precious blood and treasure America has poured into the deserts of the Middle East, I am committed to pursuing a different course, one that leads to victory for America. Through much work, we have done things that everybody said couldn't be done. Today's announcement validates our course of action with Turkey that only a couple of weeks ago was scorned. And now people are saying, wow, what a great outcome. Congratulations. It's too early to me to be congratulated, but we've done a good job. We've saved a lot of lives. Most importantly, we have avoided another costly military intervention that could have led to disastrous, far-reaching consequences. Many thousands of people could have been killed. The last administration said Assad must go. They could have easily produced that outcome, but they didn't. In fact, they drew a very powerful red line in the sand. You all remember the red line in the sand when children were gassed and killed, but then did not honor their commitment as other children died in the same horrible manner. But I did honor my commitments with 58 Tomahawks. 8 long years after President Obama's ill-fated push at regime change, U.S. troops are still on the ground in Syria. More than 500,000 people are dead, hundreds of thousands are terribly injured, and millions more Syrians are displaced. It really is a nightmare of misery. Across the Middle East, we have seen anguish on a colossal scale. We have spent $8 trillion on wars in the Middle East, never really wanting to win those wars. But after all that money was spent and all those lives lost, the young men and women gravely wounded so many, the Middle East is less safe, less stable, and less secure than before these conflicts began. The same people pushing for these wars are often the ones demanding America open its doors to unlimited migration from war-torn regions, importing the terrorism and the threat of terrorism right to our own shores. But not anymore. My administration understands that immigration security is national security. As a candidate for president, I made clear that we needed a new approach to American foreign policy, one guided not by ideology, but by experience, history, and a realistic understanding of the world. We are building up America's military might like never before, investing $2.5 trillion since my election. But we will not be depleted. We will not happen again. It will not be allowed to happen again, where our military is depleted, fighting in areas of the world where we shouldn't be. When we commit American troops to battle, we must do so only when a vital national interest is at stake. And when we have a clear objective, a plan for victory, and a path out of conflict, that's what we have to have. We need a plan of victory. We will only win. Our whole basis has to be the right plan, and then we will only win. Nobody can beat us. Nobody can beat us. I want to again thank everyone on the American team who helped achieve the ceasefire in Syria, saved so many lives, along with President Erdogan of Turkey, a man I've gotten to know very well, and a man who loves his country. And in his mind, he's doing the right thing for his country. And we may be meeting in the very near future. I also want to thank General Mazloum for his understanding and for his great strength and for his incredible words today to me, but me just as a representative of the United States, because he knows that we saved tens of thousands of Kurds. And we're not talking in the long term, we're talking in the short term. We're talking something that was going on immediately and something, frankly, that was planned for a long time. The job of our military is not to police the world. Other nations must step up and do their fair share. That hasn't taken place. Today's breakthrough is a critical step in that direction. Thank you all very much, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you.
President, you said that the ISIS fighters who escaped have been recaptured, but today your top
Ah, man, he's not taking any questions. Well, the Marcus didn't care. Nothing moved incredibly wildly. The world's set with it. Genie Oil's still doing well. It's up on the day, 2 cents. So, all right, it's 11:58 here on the East Coast. Thank you all for tuning in. This was sort of a test to see if I can get this platform back here up and running for me, and looks like it's going to work out. And again, thank you for participating. Thank you, Buckshot, for the lemons. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room again in the future. Everybody, have a good day. God bless you.